Okay, let me know if y'all can hear me because I'm checking out a new feature. If you can hear me, let me know. Well, I have to check because I'm trying to see if I can do this without flipping to my photo. Let's see. Hello, Carlotta. Hello, Patty. Much love, hugs, and kisses. Welcome, darlings, to the next part of the series. Can y'all hear me? I want to check. Okay, yes, y'all can hear me with all the noise on the outside street. There would be that moment, even though we're in total lockdown, that someone would ride by on a scooter. Kayla, much love, hugs, and kisses. Okay, well, I'm not going to hold you up long. Let's get started then, my darlings. Like I always say, those that are meant to be here will be here. Those that are meant to catch it on the replay will catch it on the replay. Whether it be today, tomorrow, or a year from now. Um, I will have the qualifications for the giveaway and the date thereof. Everyone knows my giveaways are done live. So it can't be said that I cheated or anything. But before I get started, don't forget to hit that up like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all the goody good goods. If you do like the content and you would like to tip, uh, both links are listed in the description box or the about section. It's not in the description box. I haven't edited it yet. It's in the about section of my page. You just click on either link. There's PayPal and there's Stream Elements. And Stream Elements work better for me than Cash App because you all know I'm outside of the country at the moment. So much love, hugs, kisses. I got a lot to read. So let's get started, my darlings.
First off, can't play me, I ain't no Xbox. I'm pulling up, busting windows. I'm at your mama's spot, kicking cups, smacking dice. I'll make this block hot, no trapping here, slacking where? Wait, get your home right. I'm sick and tired of fucking crying and sleepless nights. Bitches approaching me, telling me they don't know of me. Oh, you think you slick, you think you got one up? You better ask my last nigga, cut his ass right up. Yeah, can't cry but spilled milk if I knew it was rotten. And all these memories we had, it was quickly forgotten. Oh, this nigga think he's smooth, he tryna cast it over me. Keep him lying through his teeth, leave his ass like Emily B. No pink turtlenecks, but I'm feeling bad. You left, I can't let him go, but watch me loosen up. Like grip, I'm hopping in my bag. I'm talking about that go wall. Shit, I need a couple bags. Ain't talking about no go yard, bitch. You eating for? I'm really about to drag and go cry no more. I had to tell that nigga stop playing with me before they find this picture on murder me. Be more careful with me. I ain't like these other bitches that you used to better. That's the way you handling me. I told his ass be careful with me. He better be more careful with me. I ain't like these other bitches that you used to better. That's the way you handling me.
Today's reading will be coming from Be More Careful by Shannon Holmes, the king of urban fiction. Shannon Holmes wrote his first novel, Be More Careful, while in prison. When it was published, Be More Careful immediately became a #1 bestseller, making him a major name in a new generation of hip hop fiction. He followed Be More Careful with bestsellers Bad Girls and Never Go Home Again. He currently lives in North Carolina with his wife and their 2 daughters. Be More Careful. Chapter 5. Everybody knew everybody on the bus. So, Netta stuck out like a sore thumb. By not knowing anybody in the church's congregation, naturally she drew some curious stares. She returned their greetings with a kind one of her own, though she didn't care about them or their church. She only had one thing on her mind: boosting in the Big Apple. Running late, thanks to you know who, Tina. Timmy and Mimi were the last ones to board the bus. There were only 2 remaining seats, one next to the Reverend's wife and the other besides Netta. There was no way Mimi was going to sit next to the Reverend's wife and get beat in the head with scriptures all the way to New York. She rushed down the aisle to sit to the other seat and let her mother and son sit there. She didn't know the strange face of Netta's, having never seen her at the church before. "Hi," Mimi said, warm and inviting. "Hi," said Netta, cold as ice. Quickly, Netta then turned her head towards the window. "Well, fuck you too then. What the hell is your problem?" thought Mimi to herself, reasoning at the same time that she was too nice to people. Netta completely ignored her. She thought Mimi was trying to get familiar and she didn't need no born-agains all in her business. She went into her coach bag and grabbed her Walkman. Switching it on and turning the volume up, she prepared for the long ride to New York. Closing her eyes, flowing to faith, she was zoning as she pictured herself coming off with fly gear. Them broads at school will really be sick if I show up in some new unheard of fly shit, Netta thought, smiling to herself. Right next to her, Mimi quickly dozed off and her head gently came to rest on Netta's shoulder. All those late night feedings had caught up with her. At first, Netta started to wake her up, but she looked so peaceful sleeping, she let it slide. In 3 hours, they'd be in New York, and she'd be getting jiggy. Finally, the bus arrived in Midtown Manhattan. It was a blustery winter afternoon in New York City. The lack of motion by the bus and Netta's sudden departure awake Mimi. She opened her eyes just in time to see Netta hightailing it off the bus. As soon as she hit the pavement, she disappeared, blending into the sea of people on 34th Street. Netta was all business. She had a lot of stores to hit and only a few hours to do it. Not to be intimidated, Netta walked down the streets of New York like she owned them, returning the mean looks she received. She wasn't some dumb tourist amazed by the mass of people or gazing up at skyscrapers. She was on a mission and carried herself like a native New Yorker, moving from point A to point B. She was in a rush just like everyone else. First up on her list was the Fendi shop. There, she boosted sweaters and khakis. Next came the Gucci shop. Netta thought she died and went to heaven when she entered the store. She boosted Gucci bags, slacks, shoes, and shirts. All high-priced stuff. She planned on keeping all this for herself, too. Damn, that was easy, she thought as she made a clean getaway. Netta expected tighter security, She thought New York stores were more high tech than Bmore stores. With ease, she snipped, ripped, and popped her way through buzzer alarms and ink packs. It was like taking candy from a baby. Stopping back at the bus, she unloaded her haul. She wasn't worried about leaving her stolen goods alone on the bus. She was with the church, who was still on a church trip. Checking her watch, she noticed 2 hours had already passed. She still had enough time to hit Macy's, though. Much love, hugs, and kisses to those coming into the room. Strolling carefree around Midtown, Mimi, her mother, and her baby looked every bit of the tourists that they were. In amazement, they stared up at the tall buildings, and they actually stopped and gawked in amazement at the vibrant, scenic look of New York. Going from store to store, comparing prices, till they found the Best Buy. They went to various department stores and boutiques. They stopped to eat lunch and to change the baby before heading over to Macy's. One of the world's largest department stores, Macy's had something for everybody, from yuppies to hip hoppers. Macy's featured all the designer fashions and was one of the biggest shopping attractions in New York. The children's department was their first destination. Tina and Mimi were looking at clothes for Timmy. When they were finished, they went from department to department browsing. Tina was notoriously slow and picky. Mimi's attention span began to waver. Anxious to get her own shopping spree on, Mimi huffed and puffed, dragging Timmy along behind her mother. Finally, Tina let Mimi go shopping on her own. The urban department was where Mimi again laid eyes on Netta. What a coincidence! It's the girl I sat with on the bus. Maybe she'd like to walk back to the bus together, thought Mimi. Damn, where'd this bitch come from? Netta said, cursing to herself. I hope she don't see me doing my thing. That's all I need, some born-again Christian turning me in. Fuck this holier-than-thou motherfucker. I got to get mines. Netta stood there and debated whether she should or shouldn't. Completely ignoring Mimi for the second time, and without a second thought, Netta went to work. Back and forth, she slipped in and out the dressing rooms carrying hangers of clothes. She had DKNY, Sean John, Rockaway, and Fubu. These items were mostly to fill for her customer orders. They would pay top dollar to be the first ones in Bmore to have this gear. It was common knowledge that everything hit New York before other cities like Philly, DC, and Baltimore, especially clothing. Meanwhile, Mimi busied herself trying on gear, but her intentions were totally different from Netta's. She planned on paying for her stuff. She peeped Netta in the dressing room doing her thing. Netta kept bringing more racks of clothes while never returning any. I'm just going to mind my business, thought Mimi to herself. Netta was going for the gusto, being greedy. She wasn't on her job, and as she thought, shit was sweet. If she hadn't been slipping, she might have noticed a female store detective stalking her. Mimi saw her, though. Mimi was being mad observant, hoping to catch a sight of a rapper in the Big Apple. Who could miss the white lady behind the mannequin? She was definitely 5'0". Mimi thought of a way to warn Netta that she was being watched. However, she didn't want to take the change of being mistakenly implicated. Oh, the change, Lord have mercy. She didn't want to take the chance of being mistakenly implicated in her crime, especially if Netta got arrested. Decisions. Mimi decided to help the girl anyway, just indirectly. The opportunity presented itself when the store detective was hot on Netta's heel. Netta was on her way to the store exit escalator. Mimi watched Netta as she made her way down the aisle with the security officer proceeding behind her. As soon as the security detective attempted to pass Mimi, she jumped out of the aisle, blocking her path, momentarily cutting off the pursuit. The store detective attempted to sidestep Mimi, but Mimi moved from side to side right along with her. Goodbye, Siri. Goodbye, Siri. Oh my Jesus.
I'm on it.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh Lordy. Every time. I don't know what I said. Damn, bitch. Why the fuck is you following me? I ain't stealing shit. Mimi yelled at the top of her lungs, real ghetto. I got money too. Why ain't you following no white people? You must be prejudiced. You've been following me since I left the children's department. I'm warning you. You better stop following me or you're going to get more than what you bargained for, lady. Mimi's hostile words caused dozens of shoppers to stop and stare. Even Netta turned back towards the commotion as she made her getaway. The disturbance alerted her to the danger behind her. She put a pep in her step and raced for the escalator. Taking 2 steps at a time, she made her way down to the 34th Street exit. Looking around nervously, she kind of expected the exits to be swarming with security. But when they weren't, she thanked her lucky stars and tried her best to blend in with the other pedestrians as she made her way to the bus. Embarrassed, the store detective turned beet red. Ma'am, I wasn't following you, she said meekly, looking past Mimi Finetta, who had vanished just like that. Oh, I guess I was wrong, said Mimi as she walked away, laughing to herself. Offended, the store detective stood there looking as if someone had just plucked her on the forehead. Back on the bus, Netta was sweating bullets, literally and figuratively. Boy, that was a close call, she thought to herself as she began to undress in the bus bathroom. All the clothes she had boosted she wore in layers underneath her oversized black leather trench coat. Slowly, she peeled off the stolen merchandise, carefully folding each item. As she did, she couldn't help but wonder why the girl from the bus had looked out for her like that. Steadily, the congregation began to board the bus. Netta had already bagged up her goods and placed them in the overhead compartments. She was seated and listening to her Walkman by the time Mimi arrived. Mimi walked onto the bus alone with bags in hand. As she made her way down the aisle, Netta watched Mimi closely. She seems nice. Maybe I shouldn't have brushed her off earlier. When Mimi reached her row, it was Netta who spoke first, breaking the ice. Girl, good looking out back there. If it wasn't for you, I'd be locked down right now, she said. Said Netta thankfully. The white security bra almost had me, she added with a smile. Oh, you seen her? Asked Mimi, surprised. Yeah, by that time it was too late to put all the shit back, said Netta as both girls laughed at the joke. Girl, I didn't want to see you locked up all the way in New York, you know? Mimi asked sincerely. The more Mimi talked, the more Netta felt bad about how she had treated her earlier. Netta was touched. No one had ever looked out for her that way except Miss May. Suddenly, Netta realized they hadn't been formally introduced. Girl, we've been talking, I don't even know your name, said Netta. I'm Mimi. My real name is Tamia, but everybody calls me Mimi. I'm Netta, short for Shanetta. Don't call me Shanetta, though, said Netta. And just like that, a friendship was formed. All the way back to Baltimore, they kicked it. She introduced Netta to her mother, who made the remark she hoped to see her in church on Sunday. Tina also made a mental note of how happy Mimi looked. She hadn't seen her this excited in years. Mimi brought her son to the back and introduced him to Netta. Netta never had the opportunity to be around a baby. She played with him and held him the rest of the way home. She even nicknamed him Tiny Tim. During the 3-hour ride, Mimi and Netta spilt out the intimate details of their lives to each other. Though they had just met, it just felt natural. Mimi confided in Netta all the drama surrounding her family, the life sentence her one brother got, and the death of the other. She talked about her father and her baby's father, Twan. Netta was relieved to hear Mimi had problems too. She wasn't the Miss Goody Two-Shoes Netta had made her out to be. Talking to Netta felt so good to Mimi. It was like they were long-lost sisters. A good listener, Netta soaked up all the information from Mimi, and not once did she interrupt. She just communicated her feelings by a series of facial expressions and nods. After Mimi finished, it was Netta's turn. Picking up where Mimi left off, Netta told the story of her life. She spoke freely about her mother's drug addiction and poor living conditions, how and why she started boosting, and the violent death of her guardian angel, Miss May. From the first time in a long time, she let her guard down. It felt wonderful not to be condemned for her way of life. It was as if a burden had lifted off her chest. What a relief it was to Netta to hold a quality conversation with somebody who was truly concerned about her well-being. She hadn't experienced this since Miss May died. Funny how time flies. The bus arrived in Beemore as scheduled. Neither Mimi nor Netta noticed the bus had even pulled into the bus station, as they were too busy talking. A noticeable sadness traced over their faces like two kids who had to put away their favorite toy at bedtime. The girls exchanged numbers and said their goodbyes, reassuring each other they'd be in touch soon. All the way home in the car, Mimi couldn't stop talking about Netta. Mom, me and Netta have so much in common. I can tell we're going to be best friends, Mimi exclaimed. Then she added, Watch, she's the sister I never had, said Mimi with confidence. Tina smiled and continued driving. She was happy that her daughter was happy. This was the old Mimi. She hadn't seen her like this since all the trouble with the twins. Over the next few days, the girls stayed in constant contact by phone. The phone calls eventually led to Netta paying Mimi a visit. Since she was too ashamed to let Mimi see her apartment, where she lived with her mother, she insisted it would be better for them to visit at Mimi's home. Mimi understood, and being as though Netta had never invited her over, she never asked. Netta's visits became so frequent they turned into sleepovers. Several months later, when Tina found out about Netta's home life, she asked her to stay with them. The invitation was no-brainer for Netta. She didn't even ask her mother for permission to leave. She just packed up and left one day left one day when Renee was out chasing dope. Before she packed, though, Netta carefully shook out all of her clothes for roaches and eggs. She didn't want to take her unwanted buddies with her. With no luggage, Netta put all her things into green garbage bags. Then she caught a hat to Mimi's house. The transition from the projects to Mimi's place was smooth. Tina thought so highly of Netta. She offered her twins' old room. Netta graciously declined the offer. How could she? The room represented itself as a shrine and had been left intact and untouched the way it was since the day of the murder and the arrest. Netta felt more comfortable in Mimi's room. Always having their own rooms, both girls welcomed each other's company. Mimi was ecstatic every night as she dreamed about Netta and sharing her room with her. Netta was her best friend, like a sister, and so it came natural to share everything. She finally had the best friend and roommate she wanted all her life. The first few months of Netta's stay was like one big slumber party. Regularly, they stayed up to the wee hours of the morning talking and listening to the quiet storm on the radio. They seemed to never run out of things to say. Mimi talked about her sexual experiences and the pain of childbirth as Virgin Netta listened carefully. Netta knew about the birds and bees, but she never did it. Mimi's talks of wild parties, clubs, boys, and sex intrigued Netta, sparking a curiosity of adventures she had never thought about. She was ready to see B more, not just her hood or school or the project or Renee's junkie ass. Many nights she dreamed of having a girlfriend like Mimi. She had always fantasized about going through the door of a club, DJ playing her favorite song, swinging her hair, all dressed up in whatever special Chanel design she copped for the occasion. Yes, heads would turn indeed, and no one would miss the fact that she was there. She always dreamed of having a sister or someone she could hang with, someone who knew the circuit and who knew where to go and to be seen. It didn't take Mimi long to make her dreams come true. Hammerjacks was the first club they went to together. Netta was in awe at all the people Mimi knew. At 17, she had never been inside a club before. She liked the loud house and rap music that blasted over the club system. This social setting was just the perfect place for her to show off her clothes. She was in fashion heaven. Although Netta dressed down this night, wearing tight Guess jeans and a matching Guess shirt with sparkly diamond dots, she complimented the outfit with a red butter soft leather jacket and some Jordans. Even dressed down, she still shined. All night long, dudes were trying to holler. Netta and Mimi took a few numbers, but didn't give out their own. None of the cats appealed to Netta. She didn't plan on going out with any of them, so wasn't no need in all that swapping numbers rap. She may have been young in age, but she was mature beyond her years. Mimi, on the other hand, flirted constantly and had hustlers buying them drinks. Since Timmy, Mimi hadn't really been on the scene. It had been some time since she had been out or had a boyfriend, but now she had Netta and partying, and she'd be smarter this time. Not like with Timmy's father. This time she'd call the shots. As the night wound down, Mimi had some young hustlers she knew dropped them off home. Excuse me. Inside the bedroom, the two girls undressed and talked. Mimi eyed Netta's body closely. Every mark, every curve, everything about Netta's body she consumed with quick glimpses and subtle stares. When Netta turned her back to hang up her clothes, Mimi admired her dark, smooth skin tone and hourglass shape. As they spoke, she tried to shake it off, but she couldn't stop looking. She wanted to see her breasts. As Netta stripped down to her panties and bra, Netta, paying no mind to Mimi, put her nightgown over her head and climbed in her bed. Tucked in under the covers with the lights out, the girls began their midnight chatter that usually lasted all night. Except this night was almost over. I saw the message and it was funny. Okay. I'm my own moderator, so you don't have to worry. As long as you ain't bothering me, you fine. Much love, hugs, and kisses to all those in the room. All right. Mimi, I had a good time tonight. Girl, you sure do know how to get your swerve on, said Netta, giggling. I see you too. I see you do too, giggled Mimi right back. Did you see them niggas sweating us? Asked Netta. Girl, that ain't nothing. Wait till tomorrow. It's on, said Mimi, getting Netta excited. Where we going? Netta asked as if Mimi's answer was worth a cool $1,000,000. We going to the hottest club in B-More, where all the ballers be. We going to Odell's, she excitedly exclaimed. One second. Much love, hugs, and kisses, Tresca. I should have had this set up, but I wasn't. Okay. And that chapter was shorter than I thought. 1 second. Oh, Jesus. They're gonna make me really search for this, and I know it's been here. Y'all, me and my technical difficulties. Jesus. This is gonna drive me crazy, y'all. I'm looking for something and I can't find it. Alright. Just tell me that it ain't meant for me to find. So we're gonna listen to this one real quick while I wait to my wrist time. Okay. We're gonna listen to this one.
Please, do you know where your children are? Put them in the house, be more careful. Attend like a seminar. The killers is out. I don't promote violence, but if it get violent, then what I'm supposed to do, keep it in house and watch your surroundings. Watch it be close to you, ladies. Please, do you know where your children are? Put them in the house, be more careful. Attend like a seminar. The killers is out. I don't promote violence, but if it get violent, and what I'm supposed to do, keep it in house and Watch your surroundings. Watch you be close to you. I don't really like to spend money too much. I'm a hoarder. I don't smoke nothing. I just like to drink water. I don't do the bluffing. I don't like to take orders. And I don't really like when motherfuckers unorganized. And I really can't afford to lie. My life goes in cycles like Tour de France. Because of that, I'm pretty sure I wasn't born to die. Cause close calls only make me feel more alive. So please, you know where your children are. Put them in the house and be more careful. Attend like a seminar. The killers is out. I don't promote violence. But if it get violent, then what I'm supposed to do, keep it in house. Watch your surroundings. Watch it be close to you, ladies. Please, you know where your children are. Put them in the house. Be more careful. Attend like a seminar. The killers is out. I don't promote violence. But if it get violent, then what I'm supposed to do, keep it in house. Watch your surroundings. Watch it be close to you.
That was a quickie. Welcome back, my darlings. Welcome back. Welcome back. So I hope we all grabbed something to drink, something to snack on, and made a run to the little girls, little boys' room. Okay. Much love, hugs, and kisses to all those that are joining us. Okay, chapter 6. Nada, help! Come here! Oh my God! Nada, come here! Call an ambulance! Yelled Mimi through the house. Her cries shattered the peace and quiet of this tranquil Saturday afternoon. Groggily, Nada rose from her sleep and hit the floor running. Still dressed in her nightgown, she flew down the stairs towards the screams that could be heard through the house. It was Timmy. He was hysterical. His screams weren't normal. They were agonizing to the ears. When she reached the kitchen, she saw Mimi holding little Timmy in her arms, rocking him back and forth in a feeble attempt to calm him down. "Oh my God," said Netta, staring down at Mimi with the tiny toddler she was holding. Oh, excuse me, and the tiny toddler she was holding. "Help! Call 911," said Mimi. Netta didn't have to ask what happened. Now that she was there in the kitchen, it was self-explanatory. She saw the scattered remains of an accident. An empty, hot grease cup and its contents were spilled all over the floor next to the table. Burned French fries and hot grease still popped on the unattended stove. No, he didn't spill hot grease on himself. Tell me this ain't happening, thought Netta, cutting off the stove and retrieving the phone to call 911, all in the same split second. I was getting something out of the refrigerator and he was in his walker. He must have thought the cup was filled with Kool-Aid. He grabbed it and spilled it all over himself, Mimi said with tears streaming down her face as she continued rocking little Timmy. Netta rushed into action, grabbing a tray of ice out of the freezer, wrapping ice cubes in a dish towel, answering 100 questions to a 911 operator with Timmy screaming at the top of his lungs. Finished with 911, she took Timmy from Mimi and applied the ice to the burned area of his chest. Little Timmy was having one terrible time, hollering and screaming at the top of his lungs. A small portion of his skin on the left side of his chest had suffered third-degree burns, and his skin was burned away from his baby flesh. He kicked and squirmed as the coldness of the ice numbed the pain. After a minute or two, his screaming turned to crying. Taking control of the situation, Netta called Mimi's mother at work. Johns Hopkins University Hospital was where the baby was taken. It was world-renowned for its state-of-the-art medical procedures and advanced techniques. Unfortunately for Timmy, the wound wasn't as bad as it sounded or looked. It turned out to be second-degree burns and not third. In time, it would heal. The doctor said that being that the accident happened while he was still young, the burn mark would fade as he grew up, possibly to the point where it would be mistaken for a birthmark. It wouldn't be so grotesque once he healed, and in the years to come, possibly unnoticeable. The doctor washed and dressed his wounds, having Mimi watch carefully so she could do the same. Then the ER doctor gave Mimi a prescription for the same pain medication he could take as a liquid and some antibiotic cream she would need to apply 2 times daily for the next 2 weeks. Mimi felt so guilty. She couldn't even be happy that it wasn't that bad. The doctor told her over and over that it could have been much worse had the grease fallen on little Timmy's face instead of his chest. Thinking of what could have happened didn't ease the guilt. However, Mimi was thankful her baby would be okay. Visibly shaken, Mimi never stopped crying. She was so hurt for her little boy and feeling so guilty. She couldn't hold back the tears. "Mimi, accidents happen. This could have happened to anybody. You, me, or your mother," said Netta, consoling her friend. "Then why me?" asked Mimi, breaking down with harder tears. "He's going to hate me for this when he grows up," she said, pleading her case to Netta. No, he's not," Netta assured her. "In a few months, he'll be healed, and all this will be forgotten," she said as she wrapped her arms around Mimi's neck and hugged her, patting her back, telling her it would be okay. In the aftermath of the incident, Mimi and Netta grew closer. During that time, Netta noticed a few things about her friend. She was very sensitive. She suffered from low self-esteem. And as beautiful as she was, mentally, she was weak. Forces outside herself always determined her happiness. That summed up Mimi in a nutshell. Past being beautiful. Netta thought in light of the accident, Mimi's maternal instinct would have kicked in overdrive, allowing her to bond more with little Timmy. But it didn't. Instead, for some strange reason after the accident, Mimi shied away from her son, basically handing over her motherly responsibilities to her mother. It was Tina who grew closer to little Timmy, nursing him back to health while Mimi reverted back to her old ways, looking for love in all the wrong places. Mimi hit the clubs with a vengeance. Netta, being the friend she was right there with her, making sure she didn't do anything stupid. This was a low point for Mimi. She needed some type of release, and the clubs seemed to be the place for it. The parties, the weed, and the liquor all seemed to dull her pain, allowing a temporary escape. But it was here in the clubs that her past came back to haunt her. She ran into Twan one night at the Paradox. I'm going to pause for a second for a quick remembrance of the Paradox. May it rest in peace. They have torn it down, and it was my club of choice for hard partying. When I first got out there, it had multiple dance floors, a basketball court, a couple bars, plenty of fellas, a nice sound system, and a nice little courtyard out the back where you could get your smoke on, and it was hid under the bridge, right under 295. I miss it. May it rest in peace. A moment of silence for the Paradox. Okay. All right. Now that was a key dead memory, okay? From the Paradox. Many a night was spent there, yes. Many a night, many a hoeing. Yes. In my heyday. Tight pleather dresses, yeah. Yeah, shoe boots, yeah. No underwears. Them was good days. Okay, back to the book. Before I tell y'all too much. Bitch, what the fuck you done did to my son? Your yellow ass should be home now, with him instead out here hoeing. Twan barked angrily. More than anything, he was mad at the fact she was in the club and looking good. He couldn't have her, and that was the bigger problem. More than his son's misfortunate accident. Not to mention, she was standing there looking cute as hell and would be cutting up any minute, but not with him. Twan, get the fuck out of my face with that dumb shit. It was an accident, she said furiously. Nigga, you got some nerve. When the fuck you gonna stop being a father? Well, when you do, then that's then you can tell me how to be a mother. I don't know why they typed that, but okay. I don't like the way that read. I'm gonna read that paragraph again. Twan, get the fuck out of my face with that dumb shit. It was an accident, she said furiously. Nigga, you got some nerve. When the fuck you gonna start being a father? Well, when you do, that's when you can tell me how to be a mother. She got that one off her chest and turned and walked away heated. Bitch ass nigga, she said to herself as she walked along. Right then, Mimi made up her mind to fix Twan for trying to play her out in public, and she knew just how to do it. After dropping Netta off, she stayed in the car with Boo, another big-time hustler from East Baltimore's Lafayette projects, who just happened to be one of Twan's main rivals. Mimi knew all about their beef with one another. She went with him and had sex with him, doing it only to spite Twan, knowing word would get back to him. Thinking that this would hurt him, she never realized that besides a somewhat bruised ego, Twan really didn't care. He washed his hands of Mimi and the baby a long time ago. The next day, Mimi recounted her sexual escapade, blow by blow for Netta, who listened to every detail and description Mimi fed her. He ain't hit you off with no dough? Asked Netta, puzzled by Mimi's story of revenge. It wasn't like that. I ain't crack for no cash. I fucked him to get back at Twan, she said, looking at Netta, wondering why she didn't get it. Mimi didn't need money. She had family that took care of her. She wanted for nothing, so it wasn't all about that with Boo. She was on some other shit. You mean to tell me you let that nigga Boo hit it just cause you wanted some get back? She asked, looking at Mimi as if she were crazy. Yeah, answered Mimi. Listen, I'm not gay or nothing like that, but you ain't no ugly bitch. So, fucking you should be a privilege, a paid privilege. Niggas is dying to get with you, so you should make them take care of you, said Netta, wanting her to see her mistake. Netta, you talk the talk, but you ain't never been fucked yet, Mimi stated bluntly. Show you right. But when I do, I'ma get mine. You best believe a nigga fucking me gonna play his part, said Netta, meaning every word from the bottom of her heart. Then and there, the seed was planted and a scheme was hatched. Later on, as time passed and the future would present itself, Netta would show Mimi better than she could tell her how to handle a hustler. And sure enough, as the sun shines and the moon glows, a money green Mercedes-Benz 55 AMG slowly came to a stop right in front of Netta, who was standing at the bus stop on her way home from school. The driver of the vehicle was named Major. He was well built, brown skinned, and a getting money motherfucker from Park Heights. Major was attractive in a thuggish sort of way. Fortunately for him, by ghetto standards, his AMG made that nigga a real handsome motherfucker. Lowering his passenger side window, he leaned over in the seat to holler at Netta. Excuse me, miss, with the slim waist and a pretty face. You need a ride? He asked, cool like whip, giving her ass the wrist as he questioned her, all the while signaling her out from the rest of her comrades. Netta frowned her face, giving him the you talking to me look. Persistent as ever, Major tried his hand again. Shorty, what's the deal? You want to ride or what? 4 wheels beats 2 heels, baby, he said with a smile. That comment brought a smile to her, matching his. Netta was tickled. This big ass nigga in this big ass car broke the ice. However, she didn't want to appear pressed. How I know you ain't no rapist or murderer or something? She shot back. Now, it was his turn to be amused. Come on now. I may be a lot of things, but a rapist I'm not. Do I look that bad to you that I got to take some pussy? He asked. No, she answered. But looks can be deceiving. You know what? We can hold this discussion while we ride. For real, yo. Finally, Netta relented and got inside the car. She liked a man with a sense of humor, and more importantly, money. She wasn't about to deal with no broke-ass nigga. She had decided that shit a long time ago. Think big, Netta. Think big. Hold out for all, she always told herself. And Major was large. That nigga had so much cash, Sylvester would say, suffering succotash. Major had it going on with his hustle. His looks, his car, and his bling bling. Everything about the nigga represented that. But Netta had something much more valuable in her possession. Her pussy. Major turned out to be Netta's first boyfriend. But there was no question who wore the pants in the relationship. Netta did, and she wore them well, playing her part to a T. She had him wrapped around her pinky finger. She started trying him, asking for little things, like small amounts of cash, and gradually working her way up from leather coats to jewelry. Then she cracked on him for something way bigger and more expensive. She cracked on him for a car. Even though she didn't know how to drive yet, she wanted a car. And she got Major to agree to get her one once she learned how to drive. It didn't take Netta much to convince him to teach her how to drive either. Netta learned the mechanics of auto operation quickly. Within 2 weeks of learning how to drive, she had her learner's permit. He was doing all this, and she still hadn't hit him off with some pussy. She built up his anticipation with mental foreplay. A kiss here and a touch there. Had him, after a while, begging for it, sweating her, all over her, ignoring her stops and no's, which for him was unusual. Major was a major hustler. He was on big boy time and had big boy status. The way that his pockets were holding made women simply spread their legs. He had so much pussy coming at him, the shit was overrated and not too many men would agree with him. However, he had so much pussy open for him, he could honestly do without it. Now, what he did need was a challenge, and Netta was it. When she told him she was a virgin, that shit only heightened his expectations of the sexual act. And Netta had him open. The fact that she wasn't like the other broads, giving him brain and letting him do whatever, made it a sport for him, a game he had to win. The challenge and the sport of it for a nigga getting dough was the rush for Major. And that's what was different about Netta to him. Not to mention, she was still a virgin. After 3 months of waiting, Netta finally gave him some, and it was too good for him to handle. Major ejaculated prematurely over and over again. He'd never been with a virgin in his life, and he was 23 years old. He couldn't believe his luck. She wasn't lying. Netta knew she had a bomb shot too, and after he broke her in, she threw it on him. Lust blinded Major, and he didn't realize that the sex she was giving up coincided with him buying her that car. Catering to all her whims, Major caved into this one too. Netta was his wifey, he reasoned with himself. If she wanted a car, then she should have one. So he hit her off. He bought her a little red Honda Prelude, fresh off the lot, fully loaded, with shiny rims, a system, and tints. This was the perfect car for a female since it was so compact and easy to handle. With this gift, Netta learned a valuable lesson. One she would draw on later in life, which was that a woman can lead a man around like a dog on a chain because men think with their little head and not with the big one. Having already let her into his heart, Major let Netta into his world as well. He exposed her to the drug game. Streetwise and eager to learn, Netta made a good student. Her memory was photographic. Everything she saw, she remembered. He taught her how to cut coke. Then he taught her how to cut dope. She learned how to weigh drugs on the scales and bag it up. Major would have her bagging up coke for hours and hours at a time. Eventually, she could look at a package and weigh it by sight. Major taught her that too. More importantly to her, she got a glimpse of how much money he was making. Netta had severely underestimated Major's hustling abilities. He was that nigga. The whole time Netta was seeing Major, her relationship with Mimi suffered. She tried to manage her time between her man and her friend, but it was hard. Mimi was demanding even though she was happy for her girl. They still spent quality time together. Every night they shared the same room, and as usual, the girls would cut off the light switch and in the dark tell their secrets to one another until they fell asleep. They vowed that no man would ever come between them. Secretly, however, Mimi was jealous. She was envious of the things Major was doing for Netta. She never let it show, though. That's because Netta was so humble and sharing. She taught Mimi how to drive, and she continued to school her on the game, the do's and don'ts. Netta was surprised at how naive how naive Mimi really was to the game. With her father and her brothers in the game, she was supposed to know certain things, and she didn't. She was supposed to know how to work niggas and peep game. No man was supposed to be able to run game on her, but that was the case. It seemed nobody ever bothered to pull her coat. Use what you got to get what you want was the theme Netta echoed to her. Heavily influenced by Netta, Mimi got a car too, though hers came from a more conventional source, her dad. She pressured him into buying it. The same make and model as Netta's, just a different color. It was all good with Netta. She was happy for Mimi. Happy they both were riding. Juggling school, Major and Mimi, Netta still got good grades, and she would still graduate on time. School was easy for Netta, but hard for Mimi. Mimi's interest in school began to dwindle her junior year. Partying became more important than education. Mimi was so close to graduating, but yet so far. A couple of times she contemplated dropping out of school, but each time Netta talked her out of it. Mimi, you'll never accomplish nothing in life if you quit school. Once you get that diploma, they can't ever take that from you. So many doors will open to you, and your son will respect you more, said Netta seriously, hoping her words motivated her friend to stay in school. Because her heart definitely wasn't there. As her relationship with Major began to get serious, Netta had a tough decision to make. She was debating upon taking Major up on his offer to move in with him. It had been weeks since he first asked, and he was still applying pressure. However, after serious deliberation on her part, Netta rejected the idea. Out of respect to Mimi's mother, she didn't move out. Besides that, she liked the home environment there, and she was comfortable. Graduating from high school was the first meaningful thing, other than surviving, that Netta accomplished in her life. She was proud of herself, even though she didn't know what she wanted to do with her life or what the future held for her. Having come so far against so many obstacles was an achievement in itself. The day of Netta's graduation was bittersweet. She woke up, looked out the window, and realized her Honda was gone. It had been stolen. And while she was surrounded on this festive day by all the people she loved, including Tina, Mimi, Lil Timmy, and Major, there was a person not amongst her happy group. There was a person not amongst her happy group. That's right. Talk about surprise, surprise. An hour later, her mother, Renee, showed up looking half decent. Renee, the only outsider in Netta's circle, sat in the audience alone. Netta barely recognized her mother and barely remembered sliding an invitation under her mother's door. Just being courteous. She never expected Renee to stop shooting dope long enough to show up. Still, there she was, looking out of place. They kept in contact over the past few years, sparingly, communicating just enough to let the other know they were alive. Netta buried the hatchet somewhat after she moved in with Tina and Mimi. She still couldn't totally forget about all the things her mother had done to her, nor would those things ever be justified in her eyes. However, the past was the past, and Netta intended to leave it there. Sometimes it is better to let bygones be bygones. In order to mature, she had to live in the present. Her mother will always be her mother. No one can pick their family, only their friends. Netta beamed as she walked up on stage to receive her diploma. This was her day. As she shook the principal's hand and received her diploma, she looked out in the audience and saw her loved ones. Everyone was clapping and cheering her on. Miss Tina was busy snapping her camera as Netta stood next to the principal and gave a big Eddie Murphy smile for the flash. Everybody was clapping and smiling, ready to go out and celebrate. Downtown at Fisherman's Wharf restaurant, they ate and drank champagne, toasting Netta's success. Let me just say, Fisherman's Wharf still stands, and it's a very nice restaurant if you want to go have you a good crab cake. Although I prefer Moe's. That's just a little inside information. One is on one side of the harbor, one is on the other side. You can take a taxi across the water in between the two. I need to stop reminiscing. Okay. Okay. Downtown at Fisherman's Wharf restaurant, they ate and drank champagne, toasting Netta's success. However, Renee was distant and noticeably withdrawn from the group. For the life of her, Netta couldn't figure out what was wrong, but she soon came to find out. As the evening ended, the group split into two, each walking to their separate cars. Before parting, Mimi and Tina took turns embracing Netta's goodbye. Miss Tina looked as if she had tears in her eyes. Netta, we are all so proud of you, sweetheart, said Tina joyfully. I know, Netta, you did it, said Mimi with tears of joy running down her cheeks. I couldn't have done it without you, she said, looking at Miss Tina then Mimi. I love you so much. Thank you for everything. Thank you so much, said Netta, returning their embrace. With everybody feeling sentimental, they hugged and kissed some more, exchanging pleasantries. Parting way, Netta promised them she'd be home tomorrow. Tonight, however, will be spent with Major. Netta jumped into the car where her mother and Major awaited. She was dropping her mother off. They're spending a night of celebration with her baby at a fancy hotel. Or at least, that's what she thought.
First off, can't play me, I ain't no Xbox. I'm pulling up, busting windows. I'm at your mama's spot, kicking cups, smacking dice. I'll make this block hot, no trapping here, slacking where? Wait, get your home right. I'm sick and tired of fucking crying and sleepless nights. Bitches approaching me, telling me they don't know of me. Oh, you think you slick, you think you got one up. You better ask my last nigga, cut his ass right up. Yeah, can't cry for spilled milk if I knew it was rotten. And all these memories we had, they was quickly forgotten. Oh, this nigga think he's smooth, he tryna cast it over me. Keep him lying through his teeth, leave his ass like Kimberly B. No pink turtlenecks, but I'm feeling bad. You left, I can't let him go, but watch me loosen up. My grip, I'm hopping in my bag. I'm talking about that go wall. Shit, I need a couple bags. Ain't talking about no go yard, bitch. You eating for? I'm really about to drag and gon' cry no more. I had to tell that nigga stop playing with me before they find this picture on murder me. Be more careful with me. I ain't like these other bitches that you used to better watch the way you handling me. I told you just be careful with me. You better be more careful with me. I ain't like these other bitches that you used to better watch the way you handling me.
Okay, my darlings, I hope you enjoyed today's read from Be More Careful by Shannon Holmes. We covered chapters 5 and 6 in this reading, so that means we have 6 chapters down. We will be getting chapter 7 in 2 days or so. So let's see, what's today? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is most likely when I'll show up. I may pop up on Wednesday, but right now it looks like it's probably going to be Thursday at about the same time. Now, I've saved this for the end because I want to make sure my true subscribers and supporters hear the announcement for the making of the 1K, because I am grateful to each and every one that helped me, from content creators to those that lurk in my bushes, okay? From the lovers to the haters, I am grateful. Thank you for the push, for the help, for trusting me with content, for just loving me outright. So if you notice, I didn't put up my link today, and that's for a reason, because I am giving the announcement for the 100 pounds giveaway, which will translate into about 120, 20, 24, 25, somewhere 23, depending on the exchange rate, USD. It starts from today and this video. So what you must do, to qualify, you must be subscribed to me. And I'm not talking about somebody I don't know. I'm not going through my subscribers list to check if you subscribe. But if I don't see your name in my chats on a regular basis, I can assume that you are not subscribed to me. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Barbie. Thank you. Much love, hugs, kisses to everybody. Thank y'all. So I am only going to assume that you are not subscribed to me because I don't see you in my chat. I don't even see you speak to me. I mean, I'm not going through 1,000 subscribers to look for your name. I mean, really, let's be honest here, okay? Second thing is you must have PayPal, okay? Because I'm outside of the U.S. and I would like to make this open to the world. So in order for me to make this open to the world, and not just the U.S. and not just the U.K., or just not the Netherlands or whatever, you must have PayPal, okay? Everybody knows I'm the queen of receipts and basically Fort Knox, so you don't have to worry about it. I mean, if you want to just make up a PayPal and put a debit card or a prepaid card on it to receive the money, I don't care. You'll get my information, but I could care less about yours, okay? So what you must do, those are the qualifications. You must be subscribed to me. You must be somebody I see on a regular basis, meaning you say hi, because that's how I'm going to tell you subscribe to me. You must be 18 years or older, okay, to enter. 18 or older, okay. And you must have PayPal. To enter, this is how you need to do it. Whether you're one of my gaming people, one of my roasting people, or whatever you come, whatever content attracts you. Under each video that I do from this day, between I'm gonna give it to you in EST, okay? You have until 7 p.m. on Saturday the 21st, okay, which is midnight my time, okay? So that would be midnight Sunday the 22nd, okay? My time, which would be 7 p.m. EST on the Saturday the 21st, okay? To enter under each video, go into the comment section and say, enter me, hashtag Keys Darlings, okay? Enter me and hashtag Keys Darlings, okay? And that's how you will enter. Now, the drawing will be done on Sunday the 22nd. I will come live. I will give you a time closer to the day. And as usual with my previous giveaways, I enter all the names into the wheel randomly, and then we spin the wheel, and whoever the wheel lands on is whom gets it, okay? So starting today until 7 p.m. EST, Saturday the 21st of November, 2020, and that time is in EST, Eastern Standard Time for the US, okay? 7 p.m., because that's where the majority of my subscribers are. You have to enter every video I do. It doesn't matter. Only one entry, though, per channel. Notice I said per channel because I know some of y'all got troll accounts and all that. But if I see the troll account on a regular basis, I don't care, okay? Because that account counts to my numbers, okay? So you have until now, until 7 p.m. on the 21st of November, okay, EST, to comment under each video. It could be a gaming video. It could be a roast video. It could be the continuation of this book. It doesn't matter. It could be just me coming on here and singing a song. Whatever video I have, enter me, okay? If you haven't entered before, okay? Enter me and hashtag Keys Darlings, and that's what I need to see, okay? And the drawing will be done on the 22nd of November, 2020. Now, that's the Sunday before Thanksgiving. A lot of sweet potato pies, couple turkeys and hams can be bought with that cash. You heard? I'm just saying. I'm fat. I'm trying to keep up my robust figure. So I hear $100. I'm thinking turkey, 20 pounds, a 10, 15 pound ham. Maybe about 5 pounds worth of crab cakes. Some cornbread dressing, giblet gravy, some collard greens with some smoked neck bones in it. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Thanksgiving. That's how it go. So anyway, my darlings, I love you, and it's been fun. I hope you're enjoying this book. It's a cold read for me this time for you all. So please forgive my mistakes. It's a cold read because I want my reactions to be fresh with you all. You know? We all gotta be hungry. We all need to be robust for the upcoming zombie apocalypse. I'm just saying. Them skinny folks gonna be the ones that die first because they gonna be hungry. So you need to be able to have enough meals already in you. Don't animals start eating this time of year and storing shit for body fat? Shit. Better learn something from them. We are animals and we're not necessarily at the top of the food chain. We just sentient. Okay? And it was a human that said we sentient. How we know dogs don't know about themselves? I don't know. I'm just saying. But that's a conversation for another day. I love you, my darlings, and I gotta go act like I'm gonna fix my husband something to eat before I go to work tonight. I might be on Twitch later. We'll see. I holla. Much love, hugs, and kisses. See you in 2 days.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
I'm a straight rider.
Key, Dead Man.